Hello, dear followers. Thank you for following us in another episode of COVID Breaking News. Continuing our mission of becoming more informed in all the COVID-19 pandemic, today we will be speaking about the treatment of this viral infection. We are very pleased to welcome to the study 3 different experts who will be sharing a bit of information about the management they are using in their areas and the response they have experienced. First of all, we're going to start by an introduction talking about chloroquine and hydroxychloroquine. These antimalarial and anti-inflammatory drugs have probably been the most widely used internationally because at the beginning of the pandemic, in vitro studies suggested that these drugs could inhibit SARS-CoV-2 infection through low concentrations, working well by increasing the endosomal pH and interfering with the receptor AC2. Unfortunately, later on, some unsuccessful clinical studies were published for these two drugs, and their discontinuation was announced, revoking the emergency authorization granted in May by the FDA. Well, now we have with us Dr. Robbins from Atlanta, Georgia. Welcome, Doctor.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Goodman. It is for me a pleasure to be here in this conference. You know, when the pandemic first started, after the trial of the chloroquines, there were high hopes of azithromycin and ivermectin, that are antibiotics, to prevent or treat the infection. However, after some research, it was unfortunately confirmed that they were not successful. And according to the World Health Organization, we are not authorized to give those drugs to our patients anymore. Unfortunately, many doctors still believe they are effective and still recommend it to their patients, which is a mistake. Well, that is all for azithromycin and ivermectin. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much for all your information, Dr. Robbins. Now we have with us Dr. Fauci, who's going to be speaking about rivaroxaban.
Thank you, Dr. Goodman. Well, rivaroxaban is the first anticoagulant with a direct anti-XA activity to be registered. The targeting of factor XA is a key component in the coagulation cascade, and this will have a benefit of being effective as an antithrombotic and has a potential risk of causing hemorrhage, both dose dependent. This drug is used for avoiding thrombosis and in the worst of the cases, disseminated intravascular coagulation, known as DIC, causing a multiple organic failure. That will be all about rivaroxaban, Dr. Goodman.
Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge, Dr. Fauci. We really appreciate it. For ending this interesting talk, we have Dr. James with us speaking about glucocorticoids. Hello, Dr. Goodman. Thank you for having me today in the show. Today, I'll talk to you guys about glucocorticoids, an effective treatment against COVID-19. There is now evidence that glucocorticoids may modulate inflammation-mediated lung injury and thereby reduce progression to respiratory failure and death. In the trial we made here in Boston, we found out that patients hospitalized with COVID-19, the use of dexamethasone resulted in lower 28-day mortality among those who were receiving either invasive mechanical ventilation or oxygen. Sadly, not among those receiving non-respiratory support. Dexamethasone is on the list of essential medicines of the World Health Organization, and it is readily available worldwide at a low cost. Such good news that this provides the world with an effective treatment against COVID-19. Don't you think, Dr. Goodman? Thank you for having me today on the show. In order to put all those ideas in order, we can conclude that chloroquine and hydroxychloroquine, as well as azithromycin and ivermectin, are no longer approved. On the other hand, anticoagulants and steroids are the recommended therapy in these patients right now, but we will see what the future holds. And well, that's a wrap. Thank you so much to all the health professionals here with us tonight, and you guys for being with us in another episode of COVID Breaking News. We hope to see you next week, where we will be talking about prevention. Have an excellent weekend. Bye-bye.